my name's Sarita and I'm speaking to you today from Soulhenge, and I'm here to help you understand the truth about who you are. Now, what I wanted to talk to you about today was something that is really important to me, and I wanted to share with you my gratitude for the work that you are doing, the self-work into realization and actualization about the truth of who you are as God consciousness. And I also wanted to share with you today how important that work is and how it affects the whole consciousness of humanity. And basically, what I've been doing over the last few months is I've been reading and rereading and rereading again this completely fascinating book by a man called David Hawkins, and it's called Power versus Force. And this is such an interesting and amazing book, because what David Hawkins did was he managed to create a map of consciousness. He managed to put measurement to people's state of being. And the way that he did this was over the course of about 30 years, he muscle tested thousands and thousands of individuals, all ages, from all walks of life, all colors and creeds and all belief systems. And he found that there was actually a universal truth. Because what happens is every time you think something, or you are a state of being, or you speak something, or you do something, what that thing does is it emits a frequency. And that frequency, or you could look at it like a packet of energy, stays forever in the source field. So basically everything you do, think, speak and feel creates a frequency which never, ever, ever goes away. And what he discovered was that you could measure these frequencies, and he got, obviously muscle testing thousands of people, he received the same results over and over again, and that's how he came to his universal truth. So he created this map of consciousness, and the map of consciousness went from 0 to 1,000. This is a map of human consciousness. And at the lower end of the spectrum, the lowest level of consciousness that you have is shame. And it goes up through things like, let me get the book. It goes up through things like, it goes from shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, pride. And then at 200, we hit courage. And then from above courage, we've got things like neutrality, willingness, acceptance, reason, love, joy, peace. And finally, at 1,000, we have enlightenment. And obviously, there have been beings who have walked the earth, who have attained enlightenment. So those are beings like Jesus or Buddha or Muhammad. And basically, what's really interesting about this book and about the findings that David Hawkins found was that he saw that as we hit the level of 200, what happens is we begin to become stronger. And any level of consciousness that we have, which is below 200, weakens us. And this is really, really important, because humanity itself only just attained the level of 204 a few years ago. So from this point onwards, what humanity is doing is it's essentially, in terms of consciousness, going from strength to strength. Now, if every single thing that you do, think, be, feel, and speak emits a frequency which is forever within the universal consciousness, then when you show up and you do this self-work, when you dive into the depths of your being and you clear the layers of your pain and your unconscious patterns which are running the show, when you come into worthiness and self-love and self-awareness, and you begin to understand that you are part of the collective consciousness, what you are doing in terms of serving humanity is massive. And this is why I wanted to express my gratitude to all of you who are doing the work and showing up for yourselves, and in that, for everyone else. And what David Hawkins found out is that basically, if you have a level of consciousness which is above 200, you affect everyone within the collective consciousness without even doing anything, just by being at a heightened level of consciousness. So for example, if you are at the level of consciousness of 300, which is willingness, what you do just by being you is you counterbalance 90,000 people who are below the level of 200. So you counterbalance the level of consciousness for the whole collective of humanity. And if you are something like an avatar and you are running at a level of 1,000, then what you do is you counterbalance something like 90 million individuals who are below the level of 200. And this is a really important and really big thing to understand, because what's happening now in the world is we're at tipping point. We are ascending into the fifth dimension, and we now have instant access to the fifth dimension when we are in our heart centers. So the more and more of us that can drop into our heart and that can really begin to understand who we are, which is unconditional love, and let go of all of those conditioned programs and unworthiness and, you know, self-hatred and self-loathing and all of those kind of things, what we are doing is we are emitting a frequency of love into the collective consciousness, which is helping all of us to ascend. Because as I've said in other videos, and I'm going to say it again, we can only ascend into the fifth dimension as a collective consciousness. We are one thing, we are all one thing, and we are going up together. So this is what I really wanted to say to you. Just my deep appreciation for the work that you are doing. When you spend time meditating, when you spend time understanding who you are, when you spend time merging with other consciousnesses, when you spend time understanding that you are a frequency and that you are love and that you create your own reality, when you spend time coming into these realizations, you really, really affect change for everyone and everything. Obviously, people in your immediate vicinity and in your ancestral lines, both forwards and backwards, because obviously linear space and time only exists in the third dimension. So when you do this work in your now moment, you affect your ancestral lines forwards and backwards in time, and all levels of you in every dimension or reality as well. So you are affecting change by doing the work. Keep doing the work. And if nobody has told you today, I deeply appreciate you, and just I love you so much. So thank you.